well known in ancient tradition, approaches the great master Sanat Kumara and implores him, Master, I am grief-stricken, I have no peace of mind, enable me to cross the sea of ignorance. Sanat Kumara queried, please let me know what you know already. Narada's reply was, Great Master, I am proficient in every branch of learning, in all the arts and the sciences, in the science of being, in cosmology, in the theory of knowledge, in astronomy, physics, chemistry, biology, psychology, psychoanalysis, axiology, aesthetics, civics, ethics, economics, philosophy, religion. There is nothing that I do not know. But I have no peace of mind. Sanat Kumara replied, all this that you have studied is only name. Here, by the word name uttered by Master Sanat Kumara, we have to understand the descriptive characteristics available to the percipient of an object. Everything in the world is supposed to be capable of being divided into two provinces, namely what are known as the primary qualities of an object and its secondary qualities. By primary qualities we mean the nature of an object as it is in itself independent of anyone perceiving it. The secondary qualities are supposed to be foisted upon the object by the conditions of the process of knowledge itself. Thus, there seems to be some great point in Sanat Kumara's mentioning that all this study, wonderful indeed in its nomenclature and quantum, yet it is a description of the objects of knowledge, but it cannot be regarded as knowledge itself. If knowledge does not enable a person to come in contact with the truth of the object, the so-called educated person or the knower of the object will profess knowledge, will not possess knowledge. If this is the case, we have to go a little deep into the nature of the education that is available to us in modern times. What is it that we are actually acquiring when we say that we are educated? If the object stands apart from the knowing subject, in spite of all the attempts made to know its true nature, and refuses to enter into the structural pattern of the knower himself, and the knower, so-called the educated person, has no entry into the domain of the nature of the reality of the object. It is high time for us to probe into the validity and the value of the knowledge that we acquire in the present day educational process. The well-known fact is that our educational process these days has been emphasizing on the development and training of the intellectual faculty of the human being, but there is a complete ignorance of the fact that knowledge has some direct connection with the moral fiber of the individual. An educated person these days, though that person can be that also, he must understand here what morality is. It is the voice of the soul of the individual. It is the way in which the deepest recesses of the human individual manifests itself in daily experience. The true you, the true me, speaks in the language of morality. If this requirement in education is regarded as not a part and parcel of the curriculum of education, then we would be perhaps living in a fool's paradise under the impression that we know all things, but we do not know our own selves. Strange indeed is this predicament. The knower knows all the things even in the stars in heaven, but he does not know what is happening to himself in his own deepest recesses. If the knower is floating on the surface of incompetency and uncertainty in every sense of the term, all that one acquires from outside in the process of the well-known educational processes may be regarded as, so to say, entirely futile. Do we have educated people in this world today? Wonderful, great masters in arts and sciences we have indeed. Are they happy people? Are they virtuous people? Have they the power of knowledge? The power that seems to be invariably associated with knowledge. Knowledge goes with power, with happiness, and with virtue. We cannot say that there can be true knowledge minus happiness and minus virtue. It is up to every educated person or a professor or a scientist to probe into the heart of one's own self and know to what extent is the person happy in this world, or is there grief inside, is there virtue in oneself, is that person a good person. Let any educated person touch his heart or her heart and question oneself, am I really a good person? If the answer does not come forth positively and there is a suspicion, even in obtaining an answer to this great question, it is doubtful if I am really a good person. There is a tremor from the inside of oneself when trying to answer this question, am I really a good person? It is a bombshell thrown on the person if any such question is put, are you a good person? It is a shock even to hear that question. How can anyone say that he or she is a good person? If this answer cannot be given, then you are not in position to answer this question of whether you are really educated or not. What is the purpose of learning? Why do you go to schools and colleges? Is it because you have a lot of money to spend? Or you want name, fame, power, authority, job in a governmental circle? But inwardly you are grief-stricken. Let it be emphasized again and again. An unhappy person in the heart of hearts has some serious defect in the very core of his personality. If that defect continues, the knowledge acquired also is equally defective. There is no use of parading one's certificate or a degree or an encomium that people in general pour upon the person. Public approbation cannot necessarily be regarded as acquirement of wisdom. The wisdom of life is perhaps quite different from the knowledge of things. You may not know the way in which an atom works, for instance, but you cannot enter the atom. You cannot possess it. The structural behavior of the atom is, of course, known to the observer in a laboratory, but structural knowledge cannot be regarded as the wisdom of the object. The object is not your friend. The whole point is that if the object of your knowledge is not friendly with you, you are cut off from the object as such. Do you believe that it is necessary for you to be a friend of things? Or would you like to be living in a different world altogether, segregated from the world of reality? If you are outside the world of reality, in what kind of world are you living? You are living in a world of phantasmagoria, in a world of illusion, under the impression that you are in heaven, while you are actually perhaps in the deepest ignorance of hell. It is necessary for every person to be honest to oneself. A dishonest person cannot be regarded as an educated person. One has to be honest to one's own self first. When you are in the bathroom, when you are alone in your bedroom, put a question to yourself, what kind of person you are. You may be an emperor of the world. You may be a great authority in the international circles, but be alone to yourself in your bedroom. Let nobody see you. Touch your heart. What kind of person am I? You will be surprised to know that you are a poor nothing. If that is the predicament, if the consequence of your appreciation of your own knowledge, you will be, really speaking, sorry to say, a downright hypocrite to your own self. If you are a hypocrite to yourself, how would be a great wonder to the people outside? This is why it is said knowledge of self is the true knowledge. But Narada could not make out the meaning of this. What is the meaning of knowledge of self? Where is this self? Of course, I am the self. You are the self. Everybody is the self. No, because this so-called self of yours or mine is an assumed centralization of psychophysical individuality, but it is not the true self. The true self is supposed to be imperishable. But if it is only a psychophysical individuality that you regard as your true self, then with the abolition or negation of this personality, your self also will perish. But would you believe that your self will perish when you die physically? You do not want to hear such a thing at all. You will not believe that you will perish with the perishing of the physical body. Therefore, you cannot say that the self, which is supposed to be the object of true knowledge, is the same as what inundates or supervises or animates the psychophysical individuality of yours. Towards this end, Narada is taken gradually by a development process by Master Sanat Kumara until he takes Narada to the great definition of what is true self, namely the imperishable, the unlimited, the all-pervasive alone can be regarded as fullness, completeness, perfection, plenum, known in Sanskrit as Bhuma, the Absolute. If a person in this world cannot know where one is being directing oneself, what is the purpose of existence itself, why do we live at all? What is the meaning of being alive in this world? What for are we alive? Why do we exist here? If this question cannot be answered, you have answered no question in this world. You may know physics, chemistry, biology, let it be. What does it matter to you? These knowledges are not going to help you when you are breathing your last breath. Who will come with you? Namutra hi sahayartham pita mata cha tishtata na putradara na jnatir dharmas tishtati kevata. Manusmriti speaks here. When you are about to breathe your last breath, please remember who comes with you. Knowledge comes, your certificate comes, your degrees come. All the people who praise you as the greatest of greatest will come with you. Who goes with you, sir? Fear is the outcome of hearing this question. I have a lot of friends, I have a lot of money, I have got name and fame, I wield authority, but now I am leaving this world. Where do I go? If you cannot know where you are going, you cannot also know where you are living. You cannot know from where you have come. In this confusion of the very nature of your existence, you are trying to be educated in the modern sense of the term. The philosophy of education has been the subject of discussion today. The philosophy is actually the inquiry into the ultimate causes of things. The final meaning of anything is the philosophy thereof. Now, what is the final meaning of education? With all these little things I have told you, you will be surprised where you are standing. The very ground itself is shaking as it were. Therefore, we require perfect masters as professors. As I mentioned to you, we don't want professors. We require possessors of knowledge. Let each professor tell whether he possesses knowledge or only professors. He can get on in the world very well, of course, because in the world of ignorance, everybody can be great. But you must know that there are levels of being higher than this earth plane, where also you have something to say, and you are a citizen not merely of this earth plane, you are a citizen of a higher planes also. As, for instance, I mentioned the nature of the atom. Atom is not the only thing that is to be known. There are inside the atom many layers of reality. They constitute the very existence of the atom. The very meaning of the object called the atom is what it is constituted of. You may say it is constituted of molecules, but molecules are again constituted of minor things called electrons, and finally there is only electric energy commensurate with all existence. In the same way, this world, this earth, can be regarded for all purposes of enquiry in this connection with an atom. But inside that there is another world. Inside that so many worlds. There are 7 worlds are supposed to be inside in a wonderfully indescribable manner. You will be wondering what is the meaning of inside. Is the heaven inside this earth? The insideness is to be understood in a logical manner, not in a quantitative mathematical proportion. There are subtleties inside our own selves, for instance. We have a physical body comparable to the earth's surface, but Who are we in the physical body only? Are we something else? When we say a person is coming, who is coming? Can we say the bones are coming, the flesh is coming, the limbs of the body are coming? Can we say a bundle of the limbs of a physical organism is coming? Can we say that this is the truth of a person when he actually comes? Oh, a person is coming. Who is the person? The person cannot be the body, as you know very well. Otherwise, you can say the body is coming. You will be wondering what kind of definition is this of a person. There are layers of reality within our own self. We must know who we are, first of all, before we try to know who are other people, what are other things. What is the use of knowing this, counting the stars in heaven, when we cannot count the potentials of your own inner personality? The truth of being, therefore, is that our deepest core is identical with the deepest core of all creation, so that the object is not only friendly with us, is inseparable from us in its essentiality. The deeper we go into our own self, we also go deep into the very structure of the object that we are trying to know, so that in this in-depth analysis of the object as well as one's own self, we enter into the truth of ourselves together with the entry into the truth of the object. As truth is one, Satyameva Jayate, there cannot be two truths of the objects and truths of yourself. The truth coalesce and becomes one truth, so that an experience of the object becomes an experience of a coalescence of the soul of the object with the soul of your own self. In the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, such a coalescence of the true nature of the object with the true nature of the subject is called Samadhi. That is to say, an equilibrium established between the essential of the person knowing with the essential of the object. In this manner, if we can come together with the essentials of all things in the world, we will have a universal awakening suddenly, and we will be citizens not merely of an international setup of humanity, but citizens of the universe. Then the universe will protect you. As the government protects you because you are a citizen of the nation of a particular country, so the world will protect you. Lokeshah palayantitam, says the scripture. The very guardians of the horizon will protect you, because you are a citizen of the world which belongs to these guardians. You are a citizen of all the levels of being. We are not living only in this physical world, but all the levels, Bhuloka, Bhurloka, Swarloka, Maharloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka. All the levels of being are present in a microcosmic manner in our own individuality. We are a cross-section of the cosmos. Whatever is potentially present in the universe is also present in our own selves. So to know the self is the true knowledge of anything. This is what Sanat Kumara leads to in the end. And here is the actual philosophy of education, the metaphysics thereof, or the ontology as you call it in modern terms. Unless you are true to your own self, you cannot be true to anybody else. And you cannot be true to even to the knowledge that you seem to have acquired. If truth triumphs, beware what truth is. Honesty of purpose, an ethical mandate, guarding and governing one's own self, and the moral fiber that toughens one's muscles, the very soul and the breath of oneself, minus which knowledge is a moving in the arena of meaninglessness, floating in the clouds, as it were, and we live an empty life, as we would realize when we depart from this world. Do you want to leave this world with the feeling that you have lived an empty life, like a balloon, looking so big, but inside it was vacuum? Do we want to live a vacuous life? Do we want to be great in the eyes of people? Or we want to be great in the eyes of truth, which has eyes everywhere? Sahasra Shirsha Purna. This country, India, is supposed to be the repository of the wisdom of the self. It is really a travesty of affairs that in the curriculum of education, this fact is completely obliterated, deliberately or out of ignorance. If India is to survive, the truth of India also should be taken into consideration. It is the truth of India that survives finally. It is not the geography of India, the politics of India, sociology of India, not the military or the police of India. That is not India. It is the self of India. Wonderful. Do you know what this means? It is the self of your own self. It is not somebody else's self. These things are all very difficult to understand, because we are right from the beginning of birth itself taught wrong things. The parents say, look, the neighbor is your enemy. He has grabbed your property. He has taken part of your land. Don't talk to him. This kind of education is given to you. The moment you are born and come out of the womb and the parents teach you this, the neighbor is your enemy. Don't talk to him because he has taken the part of the land of your grandfather. This kind of thing we are introduced into. And when you enter a school or a college, what do we learn? Tussle, difficulty, teachers, professors quarreling among themselves, wanting more salary, and graduation into a higher level of profession, complaint against everything. There is complaint from students, complaint from professors and teachers. Where is there no complaint? In this world of complaints, we are living a world of education. We have to bestow some thought over this situation in which we are placed. If we are honest to our own self, I repeat this word again and again, if we are honest to yourself, if you are morally strong, ethically perfect, true lover of God, then nobody can shake you. Even the complaining professors will become perfectly all right. I request professors and teachers not to complain, and their personality will speak. The face will shine. The being of the professor, the very existence and the manner of the behavior of the teacher is itself a teaching. I tell you that students will not revolt against that teacher or professor who has a moral fiber. It speaks by itself. It has a voice of its own, and it speaks louder than the greatest hullabaloo of people and the slogans of people. The morality of a person, the ethical strength of a person, the true behavior of a person in harmony with the nature of things, that will speak in a language louder than the atom bomb, louder than the thunder. And you should not be afraid that people are against me, nobody cooperates with me. The world will cooperate with you. Tasya lokaha sa'u loka eva, says the Upanishad. The world will be not merely your friend at that time. Why students? Why nobody will be against you? One day or other they will come in harmony with your personality, because Satyameva Jayate, you have got it on your letterhead. But why should it be only on the letterhead? It should be in your life, in the life of people. You will succeed. Nanratam, untruth cannot. So dishonesty cannot work. It will not succeed. Honesty is that purpose. If you are a teacher who is honest to yourself, a professor honest to himself, no student can harm you. The government will, or anybody else will protect you. The voice of God will be at your back. I shall not desert my devotee. Name bhakta pranashyati, says the Bhagavad Gita. The devotee of God is the devotee of truth, the devotee of honesty, the devotee of moral strength, the devotee of the eternal wisdom into which Narada was introduced by Sanat Kumara. Briefly, I have given an outline of what the basic fundamentals of education should be and how far it is from the modern concept of education. We have to rectify this with the strength of our own personality, trusting in God that all shall be well. Hari Om Tat Sat.